Hello, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, then just welcome. Today I begin a rather large endeavor, remaking every X-Men character, starting with the Brotherhood Mutants. I'd like to let you know in advance that the order in which I do this was decided by a friend of mine. We're starting with Mortimer Toynbee, aka Toad. Now, Toad suffers from a problem a lot of the Brotherhood Mutants do. We don't know anything about him. We don't know his backstory, how or why he joined the Brotherhood, why he stays, how old he is, what his personality is like. He changes constantly in how he's depicted. Some versions of him are a mildly sassy British man. Some are a bumbling and excitable young adult trying his best to make the other Brotherhood men respect him. Some are just straight up stoners. Sometimes he's white, sometimes he's English, sometimes he's implied to be black. Nobody actually knows who he is or why he's like that. Also, none of his designs are really giving frog. They're all just kind of guy with a long tongue. Also, what the fuck is that outfit? Mortimer, like many of the Brotherhood mutants, is just not a fleshed out character. He's not even close to one. My personal favorite depiction of him comes from X-Men Evolution, in which he actually has some semblance of a meaningful story. Many of the Brotherhood characters were aged down in that show, as were the X-Men, and it just made the Brotherhood characters a lot more compelling and realistic. They're troubled teens fighting against oppression, being groomed by Magneto into believing they're special and mature and they can handle fighting in this war that they just aren't ready for. Despite all his good intentions, Magneto is getting these children hurt, and their personalities actually make sense. These are teenage boys, obviously they're going to be immature. They seem less mean-spirited for the sake of getting across that they're evil, bad anti-heroes, and more like real people who have real relationships. They feel less like accessories to the X-Men and Magneto and more like actual characters, so I'm drawing a lot of story ideas from there. His main design components are actually taken from Wolverine and the X-Men. I think this is the most Toad-y Toad has ever looked. He has green skin and webbed hands, and he's generally a little funny looking, plus I like that he's implied to be a person of colour with his locks. What I really wanted to convey in Mortimer's design was that he's a frog. That's his whole thing, that's his entire mutation, it needs to read clearly. I chose not to give him webbed fingers, mostly for ease of my own drawing them, but I did give him these funny little balls on the end of his digits that frogs have. I imagine this is how he sticks to things. I also really enjoyed the kind of jumpy and over-enthusiastic, yet utterly useless energy Mortimer brought in Wolverine and the X-Men. He's just a scrungly little fella, and he wants to be helpful. He's just, well, his mutation is pretty useless, save for specific situations. There are a few things I wanted to convey with him, a large one of those things being insecurity. Insecurity is a pretty big factor for his story and his personality. Speaking of his story, Mortimer was visibly mutated from birth, so his parents chose to abandon him at a mutant detention facility to avoid being persecuted for having a mutant son. Mortimer was taught from the second he was born that he was unlovable. He grew up hating his mutation, hating the way he looked, hating himself. Magneto raided the facility when Mortimer was 19, freeing the mutants and recruiting most of them. For the first time in his life, Mortimer felt like maybe, just maybe, his mutation wasn't a curse. He was being told he was special, superior even, that he could change the world. But, of course, that was much too good to be true. Mortimer's mutation was useless. The most it really did was get in the way. Even other mutants in the Brotherhood were bullying him for it. He wasn't special. He was a burden no matter what community he was in. Magneto didn't acknowledge him unless it was to berate him for screwing up what should have been a simple mission. His team only kept him around to use him as a doormat. He just wanted to be their friend. This wasn't fair. He didn't do anything wrong. Mortimer's self-hatred spiraled out of control. His hygiene issues got worse. He was ashamed of every part of him, how he looked, how he spoke. He knew he was overbearing and annoying, but he didn't know how to not try so hard. In addition to this, Mortimer despises his Jamaican traits. He's had his heritage withheld from him. Nobody ever taught him about where he was from, his culture. They shut him out and left him in the cold. He can see it, in his face, his skin, his hair, but he can never truly be a part of it. He keeps his hair in locks almost 100% of the time. It's the only protective hairstyle he knows how to do, and even then, he isn't very good at it. He hates any reminder of the culture that was stolen from him. Considering his hygiene issues, I briefly considered making him a little bit ashy. This boy doesn't shower, let alone moisturize, and then I remembered, he's a frog. He's wet. His skin kind of just moisturizes for him, which is a little bit gross, but, you know, frog. As you can probably also see, I chose to give him autism and ADHD, because as someone who has autism, I find the way that he behaves in Wolverine and the X-Men to be very reminiscent of an autistic person trying really fucking hard to make friends and failing miserably. And despite how incredibly obvious it is, he doesn't seem to realize that the other Brotherhood mutants are bullying him. Like, they literally leave him behind when he gets captured, and they're like, yeah, we're just gonna leave you here and let them dissect you. And he doesn't realize before that point that they weren't his friends, and he's adorable. So stupid. This is, in fact, the end of the video. The entire design and sheet process for Toad took me about 5.5 hours total. So, if you could maybe like the video, I would appreciate it. I put a lot of effort into this. I hope to see you in the next video, and the next character that I'm going to be doing is Mystique, so stay tuned for that one. I hope you have a nice day or night wherever you are, and thank you again for watching.